Hey, a little late, better late than never. Not as late as we were before, but we're here at Mantalk, and you can join us on Zoom or you can join us on YouTube Live. But we're here at the Root Cafe, and I suggested a topic tonight regarding who is going to teach our children how to love our fathers. And in all fairness, who's going to teach our fathers how to love our children. We have a very high instance of the separation of fathers and children. I don't know if it's germane to just our community, but other communities are not necessarily my first priority. I've always believed that you care of home first. Part of this topic emerged from several conversations I've had in the last several days. Uh, One sister who I met this past weekend and had an opportunity to re-encounter her for some meaningful discussion a few days later, uh, broke my heart. She literally broke my heart. And my heart has been heavy for the last couple of days since we had our conversation. And what she revealed in that conversation, without sharing any information about her, is that she found out that her stepfather, who had raised her and had a great relationship with him, well, actually, I guess she found out that who she thought was her father was really her stepfather. I don't know how the hell it happened, but either way, she was told at 18 years old that her father did indeed exist and that was alive and well. And it affected her. It affected her. We didn't talk about that part as much, but it's obvious that it affected her. Because all I asked her was this question I ask all women: tell me about your father. And boy, oh boy, what doors of darkness that question always opens up. It ought not be that way. It's that way for many men as well. And what we're finding is that there's a vicious cycle of women and children, boys and girls who are at odds with their fathers, and they never learn how to love their fathers, how to be intimate with their fathers. Subsequently, these women grow up and they never learn how to love their husband or their spouse or to be intimate with them properly. And subsequently, they teach their children how to be handicapped in the area of loving their fathers and being intimate with their fathers in a normal, traditional fashion. And it's kind of sad because there is no substitute for a person's biological father. There's no substitute. No boyfriend, no uncle, no brother can fully substitute for the actual biological father. I know that there are some circumstances where that is literally impossible via death and some other things, but um, we must find a way to fight for these relationships between father and son and between daughter and father, because we are raising generation after generation of persons who are inept and unable to relate to men, Black men in particular, in authentic ways, and it's crippling us. My personal belief is that the greatest challenge facing the Black community is not poverty economically, but is poverty in relationships between Black men and Black women. We're failing, or we get along great laying down. We have no problem. But when we stand up and have to sort through the issues of life and the challenges of life, we're not doing very well. And we're experiencing separation after separation after separation after separation after separation, division, estrangement, resentment, hurt feelings, psychological abandonment. Uh, it just goes on and on. But the consistent story is that we have difficulties with our fathers, Black fathers in particular. Um, and let me be clear that there are challenges in any relationship. Every relationship has challenges. But what we find is that we are not willing, able, or given the opportunity to work through those challenges. And my own personal experience has been nothing to dissuade that theory, that notion, or this awful tradition we have with men. My parents were divorced at 4 years old when I was 4 years old. And although I knew my dad and I loved my dad, there was the reality that he did not live in the house. He lived down the street in his house or in his apartment. And he had his own life. And that's not enough. That's not enough. Uh, in my own life, my children were separated from me by divorce. And, the occurrence of their mother hiding the children and all the lies and all the poison. Mothers can poison children in ways that no real poison can do. They can poison their minds and their spirits and cripple them for decades, maybe even for a lifetime. It is amazing to me that children can see a father trying and doing battle with the mother and trying to make sure that they are active in their lives. And yet, because they are inundated with the lies and the poison from their mother, children want to side with their mother. That makes sense. And so, I received a couple texts regarding this topic today, and both texts concluded or professed that it is the mother's job to teach children how to love fathers, and I would agree. I would agree. But the question arises in as much as what is the best way for the father to love the children? Because that's critical. Yet again, another story I heard from a young lady just yesterday, a case where mother has multiple children and she has moved on with a new boyfriend. And that young boy is acting out. He's doing despicable things. Anybody knows, anybody can see that that boy needs his father. He doesn't need the boyfriend. He doesn't need a teacher at school. He needs his father, his biological father. And I was told that in this particular case, his father is not available. or he's in town, but he's not interested in his son. I'm willing to push the envelope. Find that man, find another man, and take that boy to his father and leave him, or expose him to his father. Find out when the father goes to the barbershop and let that boy sit in the barbershop with him, or find out where he works, if it's possible. You've got to broker that relationship, because see, I'm of the mind that no man, no man, even a sorry man, is going to deny children that he knows that are his, especially when those children walk in there looking just like him. Because see, that's all we've got. All we have as men is to brag to our boys about our children and the great things that they're doing and how we can help them. And no man truly wants to be denied of that. But we get in our feelings after we've been denied repeatedly, unnecessarily in a lot of cases. We get hard hearted. Those hearts can get soft. You let a man see his baby girl, pretty little girl, needing something, and he's trying to be callous and cold, and you'll see that callous and cold brother, black, white, blue, green, melt down like hot butter in the stove. Um, I'm trying to help somebody see that if you can somehow forge a relationship with that father, with that young boy who is a terror in school, um, it's going to make a difference. Now, my youngest son, I have four boys. My youngest son, uh, there's a period he was bad as hell. That's all to it. I had to whoop his behind on a daily basis for stupid stuff. But I remember the last summer that he spent with me alone, just he and I. His brother stayed home or stayed in Atlanta, and I held his face one day, uh, and I said, "You know what? You are bad. You are a badass, but you're my badass, and you are acting just like I acted at your age." And you know what? I never had to whoop him again. Mm-mm. In fact, he went back to Atlanta and became a stellar student and started performing athletically and made an amazing turnaround. That's because I saw in him me, and he saw in me himself. And that is something that no one else can do for him. Maybe a big brother, possibly a big brother. But the reality is that these boys, I needed my daddy. I needed that Negro who looked just like me and walked just like me and talked just like me to tell me that I can make it just like him. I don't want to beat the horse because I know that it is a challenge. I know that it is difficult, but there is a such thing as systematic oppression. And systematic always means that there is some use of the system. And there are a couple systems in place which are very effective in separating Black men in particular from their children. One of those systems is the child support system. Um, no man ought to abdicate his financial responsibility for his children, but no man should be crippled and violated and abused in the fashion that child support does. Um, Child support will take your money. Child support has the authority to take your driver's license. Child support has the authority to take your passport. Child support has the authority to take your freedom in some cases. And child support can literally make it impossible for a man to pay any bills, less on child support. And somehow to me, maybe I'm wrong, but somehow to me, that seems counterproductive. There's got to be a better way. And let me add that child support can use that type of enforcement arbitrarily. Arbitrarily. They can enforce it when they want, how they want, as many times as they want. They can force you to pay any amount of fines or anything that they choose to do. There's a period in my life where my license was suspended every 30 days. I get my reinstatement, I pay my fees, and 30 days would elapse, and I would be suspended again. Do you know how difficult it is to drive around with no license? Lord have mercy. Thank God I just was able to get a clear passport for the first time in my adult life. Do you know how restrictive it is to not be able to use your passport to travel? How embarrassing it is? Uh, I could go on and on, but I have not seen any evidence of the child support system being effective in bringing families back together or providing for children. I just haven't seen it. Maybe somebody has an example. I have not seen it. Secondly, you have the domestic court. And my experience in the domestic court has made it crystal clear to me that there is no intention of assisting, or they like to say, doing what's best for the children. That has nothing to do with the domestic court. It has absolutely nothing to do with the domestic court situation. The domestic court situation is a situation where your issues, your private issues, as a man, because women get a totally different treatment in domestic court unless they are just monsters. But as a man, you have allowed for your personal business to land on the desk of a judge at a court, and they take offense immediately. Their position is that you should have handled this at home. But since you didn't, we're going to find some solutions, and you're not going to like any of them. It is what I would call a no Vaseline situation. There's no Vaseline involved. It is a situation where you are examined, you are charged to expose yourself. You are bent over, and you know what comes next. And what I would like to make abundantly clear is that there is no mercy in the court, especially in the domestic court. It doesn't matter if the magistrate is black, white, or female, or male. They all have the same agenda to punish you, especially as a black man, for daring to let your business land on their desk. And after that, there's really no solutions. There's nothing that comes from the court that offers a fair solution. Now, I had one exception where I had a black male judge who was not the main judge, but he was some type of auxiliary judge, and he made a decision for me that still benefits me to this day. With that one exception, Every judge that I faced in domestic court had but one goal: to punish me for allowing my personal business to land on their desk. And that has been my experience. I would hope that some other brothers had and a different experience, but I was told by my attorney, "You're too black." Oh no, she said, "You're too much of a man. You need to tone down your manhood. You know, you're a preacher, you're a fraternity, you're Morehouse, too much of a man. You got to tone down your manhood. You got to humble up and all those kinds of things." Well, that's an insult. That's what she said. And she today is a domestic court judge, not a magistrate, but a judge. So I want for some men to be clear that you are not by yourself. But somehow we're going to have to address this child support, domestic court, and then, you already see what happens in the traditional legal system for black males. Our young boys are bound over at a 98% rate. They commit a crime before they're 18 or 19, they are bound over almost automatically to adult court. What is a young boy at 14, 15, 16 going to do in an adult prison? Well, it's happening all over our country, and it's been happening for years, for several decades. The prison system is unfathomable in terms of its effect on black men and black families. So those are three systems that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt are working aggressively to divide and to conquer and to punish the black man. So having said that, we need to spend some time talking about solutions. Brothers, if you want to love your children, you got to love their mothers. That's a mouthful, but I'm gonna say it again. The best way to love your children is to let them see you show love, respect, loyalty to their mothers. Oh, and that's a challenge, because it's hard to love and respect women when they're working against you and they are lying about you, lying to you. But that's the job, and that's the job. You gotta love them anyhow. You gotta pray for them anyhow. You've heard the saying that there's nothing, what is it? Nothing like a woman scorns. Oh, brother, you better believe it. And I'll add to that for my own life. There's nothing like a crazy woman, already crazy, and then she is scorned, feels scorned. The job, if you are intending to reach your children and to love your children, the goal is to offer your children two things: stability and time. If you can give your children stability and time, they'll do the rest. They just need some of your time on a consistent basis, and they need for you to be stable. They need a place where they can always find you, a place where they know you always are. Children need stability. Of course, we know they need food in the refrigerator, heat, roof over their head. We know those things. That's a given. Those are human needs. But in addition to that, they need stability, consistency. They need time. They need it more and more and more. Because if you don't give them stability, something else will. And if you don't give them time, something else will. So by loving the mother, talking to men, just talking to men, I know that's a difficult, tall task. It's one that will probably take the rest of your life. But it's about the children. The best way to love your children is by showing them that you have common human respect and concern for their mother. Just keep trying. Just keep trying. The more you try, the better you'll get at it. It's a funny saying that I discovered in my own mind and reading. The more you lie, the more you lie, the better you get at it. Well, no one wants to be a liar. But the more you tell the truth, the more you tell the truth. Everybody wants to be honest. Well, the more you attempt to love, respect, and honor women who are dishonorable and many times despicable and who are dishonest and who are ill-meaning, especially as it relates to you, probably because you've done something to them which you may or may not remember, you'll get better at it. You'll get better at it. Having said all those things, I want for the brethren to know from my hard experiences of 25 years of marriage and divorce. I'm not sure if I was getting married every day of those 25 years or whether I was getting divorced every day. But 25 years worth of marriage and 7 children is my story. And the goal is to get those children to an age where they can be independent, self-sufficient, with self-love and healthy relationships with both of their parents. That's the goal. That's the goal. Now, also understand this. That time goes by quick. That time from 14 to 18 goes by like, oh my God, it goes. That time from 10 to 14, my goodness. That time from 5 to 10, oh my God, it flies. And that time from 1 to 5, it flies. You really don't have a lot of time to get yourself together or to let things drag along because the time is now. Now, having said that, we began this with what I believe is an awful, evil story about a girl who discovered or was told by her mother at 18 years old that the man that you are referring to as your stepfather is not your father, but the man that we have forgotten and given you no information about, and who we have assumed maybe even dead. He is alive, he is well, and he's a pretty good guy. That's how we started this dialogue. What an awful thing to do to your child. That's awful. I can't think of anything. Well, I can think of something as evil. But how evil can a woman be in her heart to deny the existence of a person's father until they're 18 years old? And I blame the mother and her husband. They both lied for 18 years. And that's crushing. That means that everything that that girl put her confidence in all of her life was a lie. Sinking sand. And not only was my heart heavy, but my head began to ache. Now she's pieced it together and she's moving on. Because no one really likes to say that I'm falling apart. It was clear that as we had this discussion that her entire demeanor changed. She went from a bright young woman to a dark place. It's just not necessary. I end with this. Why do we lie so much? Has lying ever worked out for you Howard Thurman challenges us to never tell another lie. Howard Thurman challenges us to be honest and have integrity. And if I were to challenge you to never tell another lie in your life, could you honestly accept that challenge? If I were to ask you or challenge you to never tell another lie or not tell a lie this week, could you accept that challenge? It is interesting to me that we lie to our children, we lie to our spouses, we lie on applications, we lie to our jobs, we lie to our neighbors, we certainly lie to the preacher. We lie to friends, we lie to family, we lie to spouse. And oftentimes people say, well, they're just little lies. Well, if they're so little, why not just tell the truth? We have been spawned from a culture of deception, manipulation, and lies. Somehow we have to figure out a way as men to honestly lead with integrity. There is a book, there's always a book, by my personal hero, which is the late Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. And the book is entitled, oddly enough, Walking with Integrity. Oh, he has another great book called Born to Rebel, which is his autobiography. But if you read Walking with Integrity will literally teach you how to walk as an honest man. You know what? I got a feeling that that's all our culture and community wants anyway. It's for us to be honest men. Yes, there's going to be haters. But that's not our reality. That's not our issue. That's not our problem. Our problem is fighting our own personal demons, providing a kind of life for our children that they can be a blessing, not just for the next 40 years, but for the next 400 years. Your job as a man, my job as a man, is to be a bridge builder, to be a cycle breaker, and to be a provider. Did you hear me? Bridge builder, a cycle breaker, and a provider. And all those things must be done with a deep, abiding sense of love. So, I love being a black man. I love it. I think we are the greatest gift that God ever put on the earth. We've got it all. I think that everybody else knows that we've got it all. We have it all. The mind, the body, the spirit. We've got it all. And this world has made it its number one assignment to crush us and to break us down, and to persuade us and to make us unsure and unconfident. But we can always get our confidence back. That's what the text says when it says a righteous man can fall down 7 times, but get up 7 times. It is because you can fall and be crushed like black men have been crushed repeatedly, but you can always get up. You can always get it all back. 7 times 70. It doesn't matter. Truth crushed down to the ground will rise again. Well, our time is up. This time is intended to be a time where men sharpen men, as iron sharpens iron. Join us again next Tuesday. We've had a few brothers come in and out, which is good. We had a few brothers call, which is good. We've had a few people join us, which is good. This is just a time to step out of the church and just talk to brothers. I pray that God will bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I declare that by His stripes, you are healed. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday. God bless.